Welcome to our investigation of writing tasks and assignments. Writing tasks and assignments are as different as the students who complete them. Some are clear and meaningful, others can be cloudy and full of cognitive challenges. They are evaluative at their core, assessments of writing abilities and reading. According to Hout in his book about assessment, we conceive of teaching as a coaching and enabling process while holding on to conceptions of evaluation as a means for gatekeeping and upholding standards. That is, assessments in writing may not be appropriate for all writers considering their socially positioned nature as language users. Because of this, we will evaluate and look for patterns in 4 types of assignments, hoping to answer some questions about teacher meaning and student understanding. We will look at 4 types of middle grade assignments: a persuasive essay, a book review, a literary analysis, and a personal memoir. Persuasive essays are a staple of middle school writing curriculum. In these examples from grade 6, students had free topic choice. Our readings in Emig and Graves would highly support the student-centered activity of choice. These tasks prove much more meaningful than a dictated topic. You can see that in their clever titles like School Uniforms Are a Bad Idea or Chewing Gum in School, Good or Bad. The most important aspect of argument skills in persuasive essays is the thesis. All 4 student examples have clear theses, but the teacher seems to highlight organization over clear persuasion, giving it much more weight in the rubric. She also has students find evidence and supporting details, both of which are done well, especially in example 2, where the student cites $8 million budget. For this particular assignment, students are asked if they would recommend the book or not. They are to provide evidence to support their answer. This form of opinion writing is asking students to pull evidence, but pull evidence from the story or their personal lives. There is a lack of detail on how students are to support their answer. This is the difference between a book review and a book report. A book review hinges on opinion, a report on comprehension. Providing evidence from a book to support one's opinion or feelings on the piece of literature can be difficult. Students are given very vague directions and they lack specifics about audience and length. The directions state that the assignment is an evaluation of Julie of the Wolves, but does not give specifics about what the student is to be evaluating. The teacher could have provided more scaffolding or areas to evaluate. For example, they could have commented on the use of language, relatableness of characters, or whether the book was captivating or not. Students could then provide specific evidence from the book about the language or how they relate to the characters or not. Dyson would probably deter from this form of assignment because the book may not be relatable to very many students. Graves would not support this form of writing since emphasis is placed on grammar and syntax over context. If you take a look at the rubric, 7 out of 9 pieces are about conventions, not ideas. But how do students respond? The student responses are very short and lack evidence from the story to support their opinion, which we spoke about earlier. It seems that students were not urged or perhaps asked to revise and check for spelling or other grammatical errors, as the papers are rife with them. Students' writing is unorganized and has random thoughts about the book rather than a topic sentence. We felt this assignment was pretty meaningless for the students. Student response 4 simply stopped writing. Flowers and Hayes would argue that this student's goal did not lead him or her to any new goals. We will now discuss the grade 7 Macbeth literature analysis. For this particular assignment, students are asked to pick from a variety of prompts. The prompts vary from having students identify character traits to identifying moral lessons of the story. Students are not asked just to answer prompts, but also to provide specific and significant evidence from the story to support their claims. Ideas have to be supported with the use of passages and quotes from the story. We do find some of the prompts, as you see here, to be rather lengthy and cover a wide range of thoughts for 7th graders. For example, the first prompt asks students to identify the character's tragic flaw, but continues by asking about traits that make the character carry out the horrible deeds as well as the lesson learned by the events. These prompts do not ask for students to compare any of the characters from the story to their personal lives or situations. Dyson argues about the impact on learning when students write from their social worlds. Macbeth is a complex story to comprehend, but it does have many characters that share similar characteristics to modern-day characters and people. As for Flowers, Hayes, and Emig, the teacher does not ask for a specific outline, but does ask students to develop a thesis with 3 pieces of evidence. But how did students respond? As seen here in the rubric, most students did very well. The students' responses are well written and show evidence that students have engaged in writing tests that involve a clear thesis, statement and supporting evidence. They also make use of titles and quotes very well, as the teacher implored them to do. Overall, the assignment seems well thought out and completed successfully by students. We will finish this investigation looking at what we think is the most well-done assignment, the Grade 7 Memoir assignment. Here, we want to focus on the rubric. The rubric is divided into 5 key areas of grading: general requirements, experience, authenticity, engagement, and mechanics. One can obviously see here that the teacher is much more concerned about the authentic, real, meaningful writing rather than just mechanics. The teacher obviously wants vivid description, first-person point of views, honesty, the paper to hold the attention of the audience, flow, and lastly, she wants it to adhere to English conventions, but that is not focused on. Dyson and Graves, and many of the studies in the Hillcox text, would praise this assignment as meaningful and authentic. The final reason we think this assignment is excellent is the use of peer review. In our reading in Summers, we know peer review teaches students how to assess good writing, which makes them more likely to produce good writing in the future. Here, students use a reading guide in order to read their peers' memoir and fill it out. As we come to the end of the investigation, what have we learned about assignments? Most importantly, they are diverse, and no one-size-fits-all assignment will ever benefit anyone. What we can say about poor assignments is that they are vague, like the book review we saw. They focus on mechanics, like said review. They are immutable, and not necessarily about comprehension and interacting deeply with text. And finally, they do not engage the students. Good assignments, however, benefit both student and teacher. They are usually personal and make life connections. They focus on ideas and opinions, as we saw with the Macbeth assignment, the memoir assignment, and the persuasive essays. As good teachers, we should ask ourselves if our assignments fit these goals.